Imagine, because we have a lot of great things happening. It's been a very strong week and a very strong weekend. Uh, Before we begin, let me say a few words about the historic events that took place over the last few days. On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons. And they were going at it hot and heavy, and it was seemingly not going to stop. And I'm very proud to let you know that the leadership of India and Pakistan was unwavering, powerful, but unwavering in having these. They really were, from the standpoint of having the strength and the wisdom and fortitude to fully know and to understand the gravity of the situation. And we helped a lot. And we helped also with trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it, that I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India. We're negotiating with India right now. We're going to be soon negotiating with Pakistan. And we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war. Millions of people could have been killed. So I'm very proud of that. I also want to thank Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio for their work and efforts. They worked very hard on that. We also, as you know, created a situation where the Houthis, for the first time ever, have ceased firing. And they've let it be known that they're not going to be firing at American ships anymore, not going to be firing at Americans anymore. This was a heavy barrage that lasted for approximately 50 days. And as you know, they've been in war essentially for forever. But over the last 10 years, they've been very difficult for other countries. Nobody was able to do what we did, but they stopped. And
shout out to you guys. What's going down? We're going to talk some Tylenol, but it looks like I closed the window and mixed up some clips. But that's okay, because I got my brother here, Broken Blade. What's up, Broken Blade? How are you doing, sir?
What's up, man? I'm good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I was feeling like I was having some audio problems there at the beginning. Like a bunch of windows. Somehow I managed to close a bunch of windows. Managed to close a bunch of windows on accident.
$200 billion.
So, Broken Blade, this is kind of a touchy subject. Salute to Jerome. What's up, Mr. 43TX? What's going down? I feel you. You're always on the grind, Mr. 43TX. I feel you. Broken Blade, this is a let me turn this light on. This is a difficult subject because it touches a lot of lives. I think that there's a lot of maybe embarrassment around it. There's some hardship around it. I think that nobody wants to believe that they themselves or their children are in some way, shape, or form deficient.
Right.
Which is why I think that it almost feels like, and I do say feel on purpose, like there is a level of denial, maybe.
Yeah.
And I, and again, I think that, me, myself being like, I'd like to think that I care about people, personally. If anything has taught me these last few months have taught me that I genuinely actually care about people for real. I'm not saying that to toot my own. I'm like, based on my
Well,
own experience and what I experienced and how I felt and what I was trying to and what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm like, okay, if there was ever any question as to whether or not me personally I care about other human beings, I know for a fact that I care about other human beings. So
right.
this really kind of touches me too, in that, I always want people to be the best, healthiest version of themselves, and so when you conceptualize what it means for 1 in 10,000 people to have autism in 1975, all the way to 1 in 150 in 2000, all the way down to 1 in 31 now, it's like you're a weirdo if you don't ask questions, again, I bring this up all the time. I think people always spout out statistics, but they don't really know what any of the statistics mean, or they don't understand the gravity of any of the statistics, right? Like what I just described to you was a 10,000% increase in autism in over a 35-year period, 45-year period. Bro, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. It really is. For in the year 2000, well, let's see. I don't know. What was your high school? What was the size of your high school? If you don't mind me asking, do you remember? Mine was about 1,200.
Yeah, probably about that.
1,200, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just, for sake of using round numbers, right? Let's just say 1,500. Let's say 1,500 is the average high school size, right? So in a school of 1,500 in the year 2000, there would be roughly 10 people in that school with autism. 10. What's 1,500 divided by 30? 550. So there would be 50 autistic kids now instead of 10. And this was in the year 2000. So year 2000 to now, 25 years, there is 10 times as many, 5 times as many autistic kids in the school. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, for those that are chiming in, for those that are kind of coming in early, my whole point in doing this, and why I'm going to applaud Donald Trump for doing this, is that there is a serious problem. This is more serious than the school things and the assassinations and all that stuff. This is your population. Something is poisoning your population. The presses need to stop. You know what I'm saying? Hit the red button. People need to be freaking out. And so I applaud Donald Trump for taking this stance and being aggressive about this. The overreaction is interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to let him. It can't hurt to just hold off and try to find another medicine at the time. That's it. That's all the guy's saying. If you're pregnant and you got a new baby, don't use this particular type of medication, because there may not be causation, but we're finding a correlation between this situation and this medication. And there's enough there for me to put something on it. And it's not just him. Johns Hopkins, Harvard, all these hospitals, they just don't want to come out. They've even written papers. So what he's about to say and what he's about to talk about isn't something that he made up. He's taking information and data that's already been out there, and they're finally putting it all together, and this is their report. So this might be a little bit boring. I think it's important though. So for those that that are a little bit antsy, because I know it is Friday night. Salute to everybody. What's up, Braxton? How are you doing, sir? I'm going to speed this up a little bit so it moves a little bit fast. And if I do find a moment where I think there's something that I'd like to highlight, so we can circle back, I will. But I'm going to let Donald Trump at least do his thing. Let's talk about it.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's wrong. A lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20,000. Then 1 in 10,000, and I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it, 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday for boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California with that.
1 in 12 in California. 1 in 12 boys. Now, Broken Blade. I know I said I wasn't going to stop anything, but I kind of want to put a pin in this because I don't want to forget. Because this is actually something that occurred to me just recently at school, right? If now 1 in 12 boys has this situation, which means behavioral issues, frustration, acting out, poor impulse control, we'll go over all of the symptoms, but all of those things, because autism seems as though it's very much a social disability more than it is a disease.
Yeah, at least the higher functioning,
right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not never going to pretend like I know a whole bunch. I did a little bit of digging for the last couple of hours, so I know a little bit. I know enough to be dangerous. I'm not going to pretend to know. But what I will say is
knowledge, because I'm also on the spectrum, and I spent years trying to figure myself out. So,
right, and so let's just play that all the way out, right? So you've got 1 in 12 boys. This is in California, but it's still a higher percentage of boys have this issue, and then you put them in the school system that's already kind of beaten down on them. And it's like, how do those young men respond to that kind of treatment? And it's probably not well.
Not at all.
No, Braxton. Braxton, I think my thing, I don't think it's an intellectual disability. I think it's a social thing. Like perceiving and understanding social cues and interpreting social situations, I think, is where a lot of it lies. I don't think it has a lot to do with intellect. I think if anything, the intellect is kind of like jazzed up, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's more about like someone will say something and you look across from them and their face goes down like they're frowning, and the person and a person with autism might not recognize that they may have hurt someone's feelings.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that just being an anecdotal example of what I'm talking about. But I believe autism falls more in that category than it does like someone not being able to understand 2 + 2 is 4. It's more about understanding social cues and understanding what's okay to touch and what's not okay to touch and what's okay to ask and what's not okay to not to ask. Go ahead.
Another thing that bothers me about the concept of autism, like, I'm wondering how much like is the medical field playing games because it's such a broad spectrum. Like back in the day, like what you're talking about, like the type of autism I have, back in the day would have been called Asperger's. That's now considered high functioning autism.
Oh shit.
Whereas the more extreme aspects, and there is some overlap.
I'm here.
The lower functioning, it seems, at least an aspect of it, is a lot of their senses are like heightened beyond what they can really deal with.
Elaborate.
Like their eyes can be more like sensitive to light than most people. Noises that, okay, yeah, this kind of, for an average person, like, okay, that's a little loud, but it's not that big a deal. About like a 7 on the scale of 1 to 10. It could be like 10 or 11 for them. Certain textures, you kind of like freak them out. Certain tastes, like it's that's the frustrating thing. It's such a hard thing to pin down.
Sure.
It's kind of one of the reasons why some tend to freak out from time to time or like withdraw a lot. I remember listening to an audiobook. Somebody was talking about how parents that had this couple that had an autistic child that was low functioning, they started to get more better responses, better social activity with them once they started giving them cannabis.
Interesting. Okay.
It slowed things down enough for them to kind of start taking part, like interacting with the family. And they were still nonverbal, but they were still like interacting on some degree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't, bro. I mean, again, it's a touchy subject, you know, because you, like I said, you want everybody to be healthy and fully functioning and being able to, you know, participate, and, you know, you want everyone to be happy and live like full lives. And, part of what motivated this, bro, is I did see the reaction of like these pregnant women kind of like doing the TikTok challenge behind this bull, and, you know, taking Tylenol out of spite while they're preggers, like full blown 6, 7, 8, 9 months. And like, how do you live with yourself if your kid pops out and clearly has some developmental issues and so on? And then you have to deal with that, and you go back and look in your TikTok history from a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you know, and you're taking a palm full of Tylenol, you know, like, what kind of a dirtbag are you, for real? You know, I mean, you know, like to do irreversible, lasting, even just possibly, if there was just a chance, if there was a chance that you could hurt your kid, I mean, like, how? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm different. Let's let Donald talk.
Have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys, 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation.
And the first day, all of these great doctors behind me were there. I told them, this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000, and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? Is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish. The Amish don't take any of the meds. The Amish aren't autistic. Interesting.
Yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it, and you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire, and you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good instead of one visit where they pump the baby, load it up with stuff. You'll do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times. I've been so into this issue for so many years just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen. And it's artificially induced. It's not like something that when you go from all of those healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it, and that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible. I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel the mumps, measles, and the 3 should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate. The chicken pox is already separate, because when that got mixed in, I guess they made it 4 for a while, it really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside in doing it. It's not like, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis B is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. And I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country. The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. This was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned some pretty good things about certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better, and in some cases maybe substantially better. Not going to be easy, but it'd be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly I have so many friends with autistic children. It's just it's a tough situation. Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words, and then Dr. Bhattacharya and Dr. McCary, Dr. Oz, and Dr. Fink, followed by two incredible mothers that.
So what are your initial thoughts, Broken Blade, just off the top? You know, do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Do you, do you think that Trump is on the right track?
Yeah. Well, I'm just giving these women like mad side eye. Even more so, he wasn't saying, okay, we're gonna discontinue, we're gonna crack down on Tylenol, like shut down this company, discontinue and see the minute. No, we need to take it differently. Maybe some vaccines we can wait a little while before we give the kid this and hopefully reduce the chance of autism. That sounds reasonable. Wholly reasonable.
I agree. If you were to just judge on the reaction from the ether, like the reaction from the internet, what you've been hearing on the news and so on and so forth, does that match up with what he just said?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think, me either. I found that to be pretty darn interesting. You know? When like even the Tylenol company is like, yeah, we don't take it when you're pregnant. Yeah, we said it in 2017. Don't take it when you're pregnant. Bro, there's a study from Johns Hopkins. I'm going to cover that in just a second. But here, he's going to take some questions and I'm going to let him rock a little bit. Let him do the thing. Because I think that he speaks very cogently to me. And here's another thing too. I really believe he cares.
Yeah.
I really think he cares. He might not like black people, but I think he really does care about autistic babies. I think he does. I really think he does. I think he does. Let's let him rock.
Is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, it's just fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is, and it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury is. You know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were rumors about both of them for a long time, but we're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted, and we think you should wait. I think you should wait till 12. I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors because when they talk about different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense, and they have that too. They have that too a lot. But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chickenpox. Chickenpox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot, but the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it. But they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So an MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after the baby's born. Every time the baby gets a shot, the baby gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in the situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you're going to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I mean, I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower, and she had the most perfect child. Beautiful, just perfect. And I remember this little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. One day I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was. I said, are you okay? What happened? My boy, I've lost my boy. What does that mean, your boy? My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable, I think she said 107, 108. You know, it goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. You know, we hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that you never hear about, but it goes up very high. And it's fried. They get fried. She said, I took him, he developed an unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir. He's gone. And then I saw the boy. It was so tragic to see. That was the following day. After the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot. The kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body. And maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. And
Bro, does this sound like a person that is trying to hurt your child or you?
No. And it sounds like, as credence to what you were saying, he cares because he's seen some shit firsthand.
Yeah. I don't get the feeling that he's like maliciously trying to hurt someone. You know what I mean? Like, and if anything, it's not like he's trying to push the vaccines and stuff on you. He's just like, yo, go slow, do less, 1 at a time. Don't take this when you're pregnant. Like, like if it's not good for Advil and a bunch of these other chemicals for a pregnant woman to have, which I didn't recognize until now, then what would make you think that acetaminophen wouldn't be just as bad as ibuprofen or any of the other pain reduction things? Maybe there needs to be a safer version that needs to be worked on, right? This might give the pharmaceutical companies a reason to develop a new painkiller or find one of those things, right? It's like, how about you give us one that doesn't give everybody autism? How about that?
Yeah.
But instead of asking that, we get this other thing, whatever these people are doing now, the Tylenol pregnant woman Tylenol challenge.
the other things I told you about, just the word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life with a lot of other things, you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. When the baby's born, they throw it at you. Here, give him a couple of Tylenol. They give him a shot. They give him a vaccine. And every time they give them a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of these babies, they're long born, and all of a sudden they're gone. And it doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR, break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years, we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about it, other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason, with this, they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And you know what? We have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby.
Broken Blade. He meant that shit.
Yeah.
He really meant that. That was an authentic of a fatherly scolding, or you know what I'm saying? Or right? Like, and maybe that's why these women are triggered. Oh, damn, bro. Did we just figure something out? Is that why they're so triggered? Ladies, is that why you're so triggered? Because it sounds like you're getting told by your dad that you shouldn't be doing something? Is that what's happening?
They have a boy, that kid is fucked, man.
I saw a bunch of I heard a bunch of people saying that there was people in the hospital with women that have OD'd on Tylenol. I did see
I saw a tweet, somebody talking about that.
I saw a nurse that said that she had someone that was in there that had. Now, again, do I want to believe her? I don't know. But she did say something that was interesting. Well, actually, you know what she did say? She said someone called her because their wife took a bunch and was in the emergency room. And she was on a ventilator. And the husband called this woman, she's a doctor, to ask, like, what the F, like, what is there? What can we do or whatever? And the wife was already on the ventilator. And apparently, if you're already on the ventilator from that, you're probably not going to get off the ventilator.
Wow. What's up with the psychosis? Even like, as a middle figure, you wouldn't just take him normal, or like, okay, whatever, fuck him. Just take it as prescribed when you're feeling pain. Like, no, I'm going to take this whole bottle to the head like it's orange juice.
Yeah. I mean, that's the climate we're in right now, bro. That's the climate that we're in, apparently. It's sad. I mean, I couldn't, how could you live with yourself if you have a child and in a year and a half, 2 years time, kids not developing the way you think it should, I was reading up on it. Basically what happens is early on, it's like kids don't respond the way that you would normally get them to respond. They're not quite as like curious with their eyes. They're not pointing and like grabbing for things, like there's certain behaviors that make you, that kind of tip people off. How do you live with yourself? I would imagine that this is so much, they think it's so trivial and so whatever that they've probably been taking it normally, because I can imagine having a painful, I've never had a child, obviously been pregnant, so I can't imagine, but I imagine there's probably some painful moments, but they've probably been taking it normally. Then this happens. Then all of a sudden they're going to like go extra for a couple of weeks and then maybe just forget. Right. And maybe like the extra that they take don't make it any worse, but it was already going to be bad because they were already taking it. Right. Yeah. Then all of a sudden they pop up 2 years later and your kid's got autism. And then it's like, do you think that they even can remember like, oh shit, I did that thing that one time. And there were those couple of weeks where I was taking Tylenol like they were Skittles. shit, did I jack my kid up? You know? And then you start to get into like the child abuse and how people treat their children when they're, you know, like I mean, I've been on the periphery of some not so nice stuff, you know, and seen some things. I was like, Jesus Christ, I've got my brother-in-law's nephew was in Louisiana, and I saw him he was at the family house and the whole thing on this summer. And 15 years old, just incredible behavioral problems, you know? And I watched how they treated him. And then I watched his response of how they treated him. And then he would always bring it up a level. You know what I mean? Because they weren't nice about how they handled him. And then I come along and I'm like, hey, man, I'd pull him aside. I'm like, I'm going to talk to you like a man. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah. I was like, no, really. Look him right in the eyes. I'm going to talk to you like you're a man. Is that okay? Like you're a big boy. You're a big boy, right? Yeah. Like a man. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to talk to you like that. All right. Yeah. Me and him were so cool, you know, and all he was trying to do was like, I mean, obviously he was a kid, so he wants to play and throw the Frisbee, and I'm the only person that can throw the Frisbee the right way and get it, you know, so we had a good time. But, you know, I had to lay boundaries. Hey, I'm eating. When I get done, I'll get up, we'll play, you know, and he understood me perfectly. You know, when I lay and I'm looking around and I'm like, damn, I'm the only person being nice to this kid. I'm the only person that's talking to this kid like he's a human being. And I'm watching how everybody else is mistreating him. And he's going to leave me and he's going home with them.
Yeah.
That's some cold shit, bro. It's like some cold-blooded stuff right there, boy. Some cold-blooded stuff. I'll tell you what. Let's let 47 rock for a couple of seconds more.
And the doctors behind me, they are so committed to this. I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And, you know, we have something else called favoritations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called favorite nations. We're going to be paying what right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud in my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, I said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term till the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, you know, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill, from $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or the fat, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends that are fat. And they said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they pay $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because there are a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You know, you bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up. Just break it up. Break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, I want it when I leave office. I don't want to have, it's going to be the kind of number that we're hearing where it's 1 in 32 or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be, let's get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong. And I feel very certain And I know I'll be criticized someday. They'll look back and they'll say, well, it wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important. There's nothing more important than we cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us so much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done. We brought prices down. We gave you the largest tax cuts, all that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything. So we're going to save a lot of children from a tough life, really tough life. We're going to save a lot of parents from a tough life. Okay, how about a few questions? Let's just make another subject.
Like I said, I think he meant that. And I appreciate, not only he's going to take questions, but he's like, hey, let's keep it on this subject. Like I said, man, I'm not a, go Trump person, but this human being is a hell of a lot more effective than the meat bag that he replaced. I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
This is so beyond as a subject that I'd rather not talk about, some nonsense on the economy. And I will say this, the economy is unbelievable. The stock market just hit another record high and all that stuff. This means more to me. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I have one on your announcement, one on vaccines that's also related.
Yes.
Why do you think we haven't heard more previously about the tie to autism and acetaminophen?
Nobody knows. I don't know. Not only that, when you say it, you get attacked. I was saying something similar, not as strongly, because now facts are on our side. But I was saying it with Bobby 20 years ago, and I was attacked. I said, whoa, what was that all about? I had no idea. You get attacked. I don't know. The medical community, the drug companies, doctors, I don't know what it is. All I want to do, I don't care about being attacked. It doesn't matter to me. I believe that the numbers at the end of our term or shortly thereafter could be really phenomenal. I want it to go up just like it came down to this horrible level. 1 in 10, 1 in 12. I was told 1 in 10. I was told 1 in 12. Today I heard 1 in 31 if you add the girls and the boys together.
Did you get that? It's math, right? Yeah. But it's because it's like 1 in 4 boys or 1 in 12 boys, but with the girls, and they don't know whether it's because they just don't die. Oh, and this was the other thing that I was talking about with the schools. So not only do they punish the boys or deal with the boys, or the boys are the ones or whatever, but there's a chance that the females are undiagnosed also.
Which is kind of what I was saying about the whole concept of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. It's almost like how they expanded the definition of mass shooter.
Yeah. Yep.
This is one of those things. Like, there's some kids don't feel like dealing with, like going through hell at the house, like abusive household or whatever. Technically, mentally, he is there, but he's dealing with PTSD, and nobody's addressing that. So he ends up falling into the catch-all spectrum. So it's the spin.
Yeah, which would be elevated, like I said, so elevated numbers for the boys. And then, like I said, the numbers are probably much higher for the girls that they're not even counting, right? Oh, there's nothing wrong with her. Oh, she's just emotional. Oh, she's just in her feelings. Oh, she just had a bad day. Oh, what? It's like, no, poor impulse control. I mean, let's really think about it for a second, right?
This is really fucked when you realize this conversation so far has not even touched into race, the racial angle of it.
It was rattling around in the back of my head, but I was gonna just let it rock for a minute. But yeah,
because the typical demographic of most teachers in schools is white female.
Yeah.
So you have a black kid that might have like a rough home circumstance. Does he get him? Not trying to get him. Sped, get him out of here.
Yeah. Oh, because they don't care. They don't care. What's up, Cody Marshall? How you doing, sir?
It's crazy. And it was 1 in 10,000 and 1 in 20,000. It's not even sustainable for a country. You want to know the truth. And there are other places that don't have it. And they have things in common. And that's called medical research. Yeah, please.
I'm curious, as you look at the trend lines, how much of this is the causation of acetaminophen, and how much is sort of better diagnosis, doctors, researchers having a better understanding of what is on the autism spectrum?
Go ahead.
That's one of the canards that has been promoted by the industry for many years, that it's changed diagnostic criteria, better recognition. But there's been study after study on that completely debunks that. One of them by the Mind Institute at UC Davis, University of California. But also it's just common sense, because you're only seeing this in people who are under 50 years of age. If it were better recognition or diagnosis, you'd see it in 70-year-old men. I've never seen this happening in people my age. I've never seen a case of full-blown autism, and that means profound autism. I want to be very careful. Headbanging, stimming, toe walking, nonverbal, non-toilet trained. I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man who looks like that. You're only seeing it.
Hold on. Let's go back on that. Because again, these are the extreme symptoms that I don't think people really understand.
I mean, profound autism. I want to be very careful.
Profound, all right?
Headbanging,
Stimming,
toe walking,
toe walking. There was one kid in our school when I was in elementary school that was probably on that, on that level. And, he walked with this kind of a bounce, he walked on his toes and shit, man, he might have even done a headbang or two. And I'm not even trying to be funny. When he got upset,
verbal, non-toilet trained. I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man who looks like that. You're only seeing it in the kids. It's an epidemic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was hoping that you could clear up confusion for moms and dads across America, many of whom voted for you. There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you clear up this confusion?
That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing.
And he's about to say it, I think. But try. Test it. Make it a priority. Take it off the shelves. Test it. You can test it. That's the best part of all of this stuff, is that you have the means to test it if you really want to. If you really, really want to, you can test it. Why won't they test it? Let's let them rock.
There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh, if you do this, you're going to die. There's no downside. There's no downside to going over a 4-year or 5-year period or a 3-year period. Or even if you space them out for 6 months, you space it out. There's no downside. And that's why I will say the gentleman behind me, they have very strong views and they feel that we're right, but they'll have more research done over the next 2 months. I said, well, 2 months is a long time. A lot of people could be saved. And there's no downside to doing it. Everything I said, there's no downside to doing it. It can only be good. And I think you're going to see very good results. That's establishment stuff. And we've been reading that about a lot of things for years. And you know what's happened? We've gone from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 32 to 1 in 10. Think of it. 1 in 10 or 12 or 1 in 31. Think of it. 1 in 31 people, young kids, get autism? What is it, Jeff?
My question is about leucovorin. You mentioned that as part of your plan. That is also a chemotherapy treatment. Have you been in touch with the drug companies to increase production about that? And I'm going to throw in my follow-up at the same time. Dr. Oz mentioned that this will be available with CHIP, children who are on CHIP. But the big beautiful bill reduced funding for CHIP and Medicaid by $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Are you concerned that will impact your ability to get this drug out?
I'll explain it to you in a second, but please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leucovorin is not a chemotherapy, but it is a vitamin given with chemotherapy sometimes. And the idea here is that the folic acid receptor in the brain is blocked by some antibody response. It might be 20, 40, 50% of kids with autism. And leucovorin will bypass that blocked receptor. And that's why so many doctors are probably seeing so much clinical improvement on kids with leucovorin.
So are you going to increase production?
Yeah, we've been in touch with companies, and they are prepared to ramp up production. We actually talked to them about a month ago.
And on your second part of your nasty question, the number.
Hey man, there ain't too many 80-year-old men that are as sharp as this guy, I gotta say. You gotta call a spade a spade.
Is that the great big beautiful bill, which is the greatest, I think one of the best things ever passed in the history, with the tax cuts and regulation cuts and all of the things it does. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. All of it does. It also gives $200 million, as just explained by Dr. Oz. And I'd like you to explain that, Doctor, to exactly what you're saying.
The Big Beautiful Bill actually increases Medicaid spending projected over the next 10 years by $200 billion. There's also a $50 billion rural health transformation fund, which will allow a lot of these programs to get in the rural parts of the country that the president and Congress are handing to governors to start distributing. Those grants have already gone out. The money will be allocated by the end of this calendar year. And I want to point out that the ability of NIH to do research that feeds and hands the ball to the FDA, which then can change labeling to allow Medicaid programs in states to fund this program, will ensure that the things that President Trump, Secretary Kennedy desire are financially affordable for the families around America.
You mentioned CHIP, sir. That's why I asked that question. You mentioned that CHIP would fund this program.
But most of the kids are on Medicaid, probably 43% on Medicaid, another 8-10% on CHIP, and all the programs in general are being evaluated. Most of what the One Big Beautiful Bill was seeking to do was to remove fraud, waste, and abuse. But the programs themselves should stay financially intact for the people for whom they were designed, and in this case, for children.
And the only thing we cut, so that's 200 billion positive. The only thing we cut was for fraud, waste, and abuse, of which there was a lot in this country, and nobody minds that. Yeah, please.
You said
I'm gonna go one more question.
that there was no reason to give newborn babies hepatitis B vaccines, but hepatitis B can be contracted not just during sexually transmitted diseases, it can be needles, to open wounds. So when you say you feel, is that appropriate to just tell you?
I think it's absolutely appropriate. I think they should wait till they're 12 years old. Yes, please.
Mr. President, thank you all for being here.
Okay. We're going to touch on that at some point, but if a mother potentially was doing IV drugs, maybe, I think there's a chance that a kid could get hepatitis B. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why you would give a child hepatitis B from a disease that generally gets passed sexually. I mean, the only other way would be like needles and shit, and it's a kid. So what would be the point outside of just more shit to pump into your kid?
Yeah.
Anyways. So that was, I wanted you and I wanted the audience to hear what he had to say from his mouth. I had I had 10 goddamn tabs that somehow closed themselves right before I started this shit. I'm kind of mad because I had a whole bunch of clips clipped up and ready to rock. It's all good. We're going to do it this way instead. This is from Johns Hopkins University. If I'm not mistaken, this was November 5th. 2019. And all I really want to do is just kind of show that there has been research on this subject, and there has been a suspicion that this is what's really going on for a long time now. And so I thought that, we could at least touch on this real quick. It says, at the beginning, it says a study analyzing umbilical cord blood samples found that newborns with the highest exposure to acetaminophen were about 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD, autism, or autism spectrum disorder in childhood. This is in 2019. The Johns Hopkins study analyzing umbilical cord blood samples found that newborns with the highest exposure to acetaminophen were about 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD or autism spectrum disorder in childhood. It says a new study from researchers at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Health has found that the exposure to acetaminophen in the womb may increase a child's risk for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or autism spectrum disorder. The research analyzed data from Boston Birth Cohort, a 20-year study of early life factors influencing pregnancy and child development. They found that the children whose cord blood samples contained the highest levels of acetaminophen and generic name for the drug Tylenol were roughly 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD or autism spectrum disorder later in childhood, compared to children with the lowest levels of acetaminophen in their blood. I mean, it's pretty simple. Their findings were published last week in the JAMA Psychiatry. Previous studies have found that an association between the maternal use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and increased risks of adverse childhood outcomes, including neurodevelopmental disorders such as ADHD, which is marked by hyperactivity and difficulty paying attention or controlling impulsive behavior, and autism spectrum disorder, a complex developmental disorder that can affect how a person socializes, communicates, and behaves. Because these studies rely on mothers of self-reporting of their acetaminophen use, critics have said that the findings may be affected by recall bias or lack of objective measure of in utero exposure. As a result, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has refrained from making recommendations regarding the use of acetaminophen. Has refrained from making recommendations regarding the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy. People in general believe Tylenol is benign. Think about this for a second, Broken Blade. Do you just believe that it's benign, or do you like know the statistics? You know, like,
Yeah. Again, the problem with I feel.
The study, for which was authored by John Hopkins postdoctoral fellow Yulong Ji and colleagues and team, measured the biomarkers of acetaminophen in two of its metabolic byproducts in umbilical cord samples from 996 individual births. Every sample analyzed contained some level of acetaminophen, confirming the drug's widespread use during the pregnancy, labor, and delivery. The researchers then divided the study children into three groups based on the amount of acetaminophen and its metabolites present in their cord blood samples. Compared to the group with the lowest amount of acetaminophen exposure, the children in the middle third group were about 2.26 times more likely to have ADHD diagnosis and 2.14 times more likely to have autism spectrum disorder diagnosis. With the highest levels of the exposure were associated with 2.86 times risk of ADHD and 3.62 times the risk of autism spectrum disorder compared to those who had the lowest exposure. Wait, wow. So even with the middle group, in the middle third group was about almost 2.5 times, 2.25 times. And then the higher was over 3 times. That's 300%, by the way, for the audience. That's 200% for the audience. You're 2 times more likely to get this. This 3 times more likely, 300% more likely for your child to have autism. This is, again, study 2019, John Hopkins. So I'm not it says more studies are clearly needed. More studies are clearly needed to further clarify the concern. Wang says, until it's certain, parents and providers may want to consider the benefit and potential risk when making the decision on the use of acetaminophen during the pregnancy or the peripartum period. Broken blade. Yeah. Women just still the anti flu, strong lungs, just like aspirin, flu syndrome, flu stuff. Man. Again, bro, look, man, I'm gonna say this over and over again. I guess now is a good time for me to start. Look, first of all, look, let me just shout out to Cody Marshall. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, really, for real. Cody Marshall is my brother from Nolens. Yeah, man, I was down there for a good little bit, and I didn't get a chance to holler at you. I was conducting business, so I wouldn't have been much fun. But next time I go down there, which possibly November, Cody, possibly November. And if I go down in November, I will absolutely track you down for sure. And shout out to Cody Marshall. I'm gonna have to write it down, remind me. Y'all don't want to get sick. Don't fucking want to get sick. You don't want to get sick. You don't want your kids sick. You don't want to be in this. You do not want to be in this freaking system, y'all. You don't want to be in this system. We got to start living right. We got to start eating right. We got to start doing the fitness. I'm working on it. I shot some of my marketing materials today. I'm in the editing phase. Give me a little bit longer than I want to, but like we have to take care of ourselves. We have to get our fitness in order. We have to get our food in order. We have to, because gentlemen, it does not look good on the other side. It does not look good. You know, when your stuff stops working, and you know, we got to get the weight off of us. We got to get the fat from around our heart. You know, like we have to lose weight. We have to get fitter. We have to. You know, nobody's gonna come help us, bro. No one's gonna come help us. You know what I'm saying? Most of us guys, there's a majority guys watch this channel. Most of us guys, who's gonna come fucking help you? Like, no one's gonna come help you at the hospital, bro. Like, you are on your own. You are on your own. No one's gonna help you. No one's gonna, bro. You can barely get to the hospital. Get somebody to get you to the hospital. Like, we don't have friends like we used to. We don't live in communities like we used to. Like, we just don't. You know, my pops got sick, and thank God he had so many really good friends and people that cared about him that were around. Man, if you were just some dude that was just minding your own business and not socializing and whatever, man, you start to get sick. You are on your fucking own, bro. You're by yourself. Man, I felt so bad for so many of these people, bro. And I walk through the hospital, I see these people just sitting down, fucked up, and just like staring out the window or staring at the wall or staring at the clock.
Oh yeah, man, I saw this shit early. Like my mom works at a nursing home. Like they're like better quality now. I always have like a B&B type vibe to them. Some of them, the ones back in the day, was an assault on all senses, bro.
Bro, we don't get guys. Yeah,
old people that just had a wheelchair in the corner, they're staring off into space. Overwhelming stench of ammonia trying to cover the smell of urine and feces and failing. I'll never forget that smell, man. That shit was powerful.
Yeah, man. Like we don't want to be in those situations.
Which part of me, again, it cycles back to like how much of this is intentional.
All of it. We're being poisoned. We're being poisoned.
Disabled, socially distanced,
separated, completely isolated from our families, isolated from our communities.
Last year's you're at their fucking mercy.
Nah, man. Nah, it's not. We can't. We gotta. We look. And here's what I'm saying. I'm taking a slightly different approach to this. Ball got dropped. A lot of us didn't really realize that there was really some evil genius sitting back there like, whoa, what we'll do is we'll poison all the food and we'll control all the water and we'll put them all here south of the train tracks and we'll poison the water and we'll poison the air. And by the time they realize it, they'll all be gone. Yeah, somebody was really doing that. Somebody was really doing that for real. And now that we know, we have to act accordingly. And here's another thing that I'm going to do different, man. All this talking, like I said, I don't talk down on black people. You know, if there's something that we got to talk about and highlight, we'll talk about it and highlight it. I'm tired of other people talking down on black people. I know that it's lucrative to talk down on black people. Ask the Hodge twins. Ask Jason Whitlock. You know, even punk ass bitch ass, what's her name? Candace Owens. I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. over here. We're not doing that over here. What I'm going to do, what we're going to do, is we're going to deal with the problems and the issues that we have, and then we're going to highlight the people that we think are doing it right, and examples of people that need to be amplified. And we're going to figure out how to push the algorithm from our negativity and the negative things about what we got going on and really run with the positive things. You know, that might take some clever programming, that might be some clever doing stuff with the algorithm, but if it were up to me, we're going to flip this thing around. The negativity is not going to cut it for me. Talking down on black people is not going to cut it for me. It's not no woe is me and I'm not a victim. It is what it is. We're behind enemy lines. This is the white man's country. You get it. But we earned our right to be here also. We earned our right to be here. We're here. We should be treated properly. There's a constitution that also applies to us also. We could fight for that. The law works for us the way it works for them too. And we need to start exercising those rights. So, let's go said DuPont among them contaminated stuff. Yeah, I know. 3M, DuPont. I mean, let's think about it. I mean, plastics, all these things, you burn them, you know, you can smell them, you know, they're not natural. They're not, you know, it's a bunch of chemicals, you know, bonded together to make plastic and shit. And that's not ideal, not by any means. Broken Blade, are you satisfied with the Charlie Kirk stuff lately? Have you heard any new conspiracies? Shout out to my brother from another mother that on the road. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much. So I didn't get a chance to really get down to the meat and potatoes, pun intended, of what it's like for a something biological material to get hit by a 30-06. I found a really good example so that will help illustrate the power of said round. And so we're going to take a look now that I'm, now there's a chance that they find some reason to bump me off here, but I don't think they're going to do it. Thank you so much, Solo Dolo. I appreciate you, bro. That's for Solo Dolo, my brother from another mother. All right. So this is, hold on, let me do this real quick. This is One Shot TV. I am going to post this link in the chat so that if you want to see this on your own, you can. This is this gentleman is entertaining to watch. He's one of the gun tubers that I watch on a pretty regular basis. He has to say. And we're gonna call this fair use, but I want you guys to take a look at what he's got going on here.
This Jack and Chunky Beatone. So I haven't done this in quite a while, this thing. And it looks like they're just Jack. I didn't think bees. Shoulders, each of them are about 4 inches thick. Hopefully you can see they do have bones running right through them as well. And then in between the pork shoulders, which I've got to imagine.
So let's take a good look at this real quick. Let's take a good look. Sorry, guys. I apologize. There we go. All right. So we got a pork shoulder with the bone through it, and then a beef femur in the middle. Another equal-sized pork shoulder with the bone in behind it.
Femur typically much stronger than
a bunch of neck bones stacked on top of each other. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. So
is thicker and harder than a human spinal cord, which is what they're claiming stopped the 30-06 in this case. Now, I do want to say that meat like this is different than real living tissue. It's not going to give us an identical result, but it's got to be the next best thing. And I've even got that femur bone lined up right in the middle. So hopefully the bullet goes straight through all of it, and we can see if it's actually possible to stop a 30-06 in a target like this.
Broken Blade. Any wait, hold on. Let's go back so we can look at the size of that bullet real quick. Okay. Let's just blow this up real fast. That is a 30-06 bullet. That's a 30-06. Okay. That the neck there, the bullet actually drops down and comes down to about here. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. No, you probably can't. It comes down just about to the shoulder of that casing.
Gotcha. Okay,
that's where the metal goes down on the inside of there, and it comes down to right at that shoulder there. Okay. So yeah. Now let's watch.
Bullet 150 grain 30-06, and again we really
150.
Just don't know what kind of ammo was used. If it was a hollow point or a really lightweight soft point or something like that, that would dramatically increase the chances of the bullet staying in the target. But
so this is your average round, not too big, not too small, right in the middle of what you would normally have.
Since they're not telling us anything, there's really no way to know. And I would say each one of those pork shoulders is thicker than a human neck, and we have two of them with a massive bone in between them. So let's see what it does. I'm going to try to aim right towards that bone.
Hold on a second, Broken Blade. Let me just do this. All right. You guys ready? One more time.
Okay, that literally knocked leaves off the trees. That was devastating.
Now, I'd like for everyone to pay attention to what happens to the piece of meat in the back. And we're going to slow this down even. We're going to pause this. And we're going to slow it down even more than it normally does. We're going to go here. Okay. See it? Hold on. And there's bone fragments falling onto the table. This is what I really wanted us to see right here. Sorry, it's playing. There you go. Now, is this what we saw? Is that what we saw?
No, sir.
So you're telling me
Yeah.
that Charlie Kirk was hit by one of those? Nah. Nah. Nah, I'm not believing that. Nah, I'm not believing that. Nope. No. No. I'm not believing that. This is the entry wound right there. That is an entry wound for from a 30-06. That's the front. And then, so it went straight through the bone that it had in there. This is the back, or wait, was that the back? Yeah, that's the back. So it tore all that up. Let's see, the fat looks like it held that together. But check this out. That femur that he had, that's what's left of it. That's what's left of it. Cody, I think you're right. And then if that weren't enough, because, you know, it wouldn't have stopped, they just mangled that thing. Just mangled it. And then look at this piece of meat on the back right here. So it went through that second piece of meat and hit those water bottles. Yeah. So, so there's that.
The back of his head.
Look at that. Look at that. That was the piece that was in the back. And you're telling me that that's what that guy got shot with? Nah. And under 200 yards, that thing hasn't slowed down yet. Like, it may have slowed down like 5% maybe. So you just assume got hit point blank.
Yeah.
I wrote on on somebody's, I forget whose, Twitter. I was like, bro, it would be like him getting hit in the back of the head with a sledgehammer, or like a full blown sledgehammer, and then somebody like spray painted the back of the tent. I mean, think about it for a second. Even this broken blade. Let's look at this for a second. Even when someone eats a handgun, right? You know, right? We've seen the like the movies are pretty accurate to what it really looks like. You know, like brain matter, back of the head. You know, when you eat a bullet, right? And we see what like a 9mm will do. Well, like a 45 will do. 38 will do. So you're telling me this thing that's 3 times the size of those bullets, going almost 3 times as fast, 2.5 times as fast, is not going to paint him all over the back of the tent? Come on, man. And thank you. When the government is talking miracles and magical, yeah, hell yeah, you know, they are not telling the truth. So anyway, man, I just wanted to go on ahead and put that out there. Just wanted to dead that situation, pun intended. What else you got on your brain, man? What's up? Anything else that's bothering you in particular? I do have a FBA public service announcement, but I'm going to save that to the very end. Anything else you want to? I'm not trying to.
Yeah, in regards to this whole autism thing and like the people, this Tylenol challenge. I recently heard about a book. I need to start reading it soon. Book called The Crowd by Gustave Le Bon, written in 1895. Apparently, this book was used by the Small Mustache as a model to manipulate the masses. I know one of the concepts spoken of in the book is that crowds are more malleable by simple emotion rather than nuanced and logical ideas and simple slogans, such as Orange Man bad, no matter what. My pastor has been pretty open about his family struggles in regards to his kid. He him and his wife tried to have a baby multiple occasions. I think they had like 2 or 3 miscarriages. They finally, she gives birth to one that lives, and the boy is autistic, like deep on the spectrum. And I know he loves the boy to death, but it is a day-to-day struggle. And these ladies, in their malice, will inflict that on their kids. Will risk inflicting that on their kids just to prove one man wrong. I'm on the lighter end of the spectrum. And a lot of the shit that I've gone through, I wouldn't wish on most people. Most jobs I've gone through alone, fired or targeted for some unknown reason to me. As a tweet I read some time ago, like, then they struggles, like you come to find out, despite all the years growing up in school, hearing that being taught to believe that you get ahead based on like just hard work and meritocracy, you find out it's all nepotism and a series of rules that are never fully expressed that seem to change on the dime.
That shit used to get me as a kid, for real.
And you're left trying to navigate this world with no real guidance. to your own frustration and detriment.
Yeah.
I had an uncle that, and this might sound familiar to you, Alvin, because the comic book script, there's a character that I based definitely on this.
Okay.
His uncle led to believe, like for decades, that he was a cholo, an absolute creep. But the day, like after he passed, talking to my dad some and like seeing how other family members interacted, I'm sitting there like, this shit ain't adding up. Something seems wrong here.
Mm.
And as I sat in the pew, all at once. Again, if you've seen The Usual Suspects, it was like a lot like the ending.
Mm.
Like one little idea, just like 10 minutes of realization hit me all at once. Like, fuck me. It was autistic the whole time. It's just, I find it deeply vexing that these women have no understanding, no respect of what they're dealing with, what they're potentially inflicting on their kids.
So somebody said it earlier. So selfish. Go ahead. Sorry.
Beyond selfish, like that.
Yeah.
That delves into Luciferianism.
Yeah. There's definitely there's got to be a much stronger, a much stronger something to, yeah.
Yeah, I'll land my plane there.
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm going to take? 28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm going to take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's going to work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism. "28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm going to take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's going to work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism." "28 weeks pregnant."
Okay. So we talked about, those crimes that are over the top to me, right? Like the guy, does his own family and the dog, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or woman does her kids and the fish, and like everybody, and I'm starting to realize or think that maybe, some of those can be attributed to demonic possession. Those crimes that are just so out of control, heinous that, I mean, like what human being could put a thing on a kid, you know what I'm saying? Or a kid, or,
Yeah, it goes beyond just like
is it
or depression. That there's just like a protest against the concept of life.
Yes, that's such a great way of putting it. That is a great way of putting it. Does this fall in that category? Or is this just full-blown ignorance? Because like the way she's kind of looking into the camera, I'm kind of getting demonic vibes a little bit. I'm getting even the smile afterwards, I'm getting demonic vibes. And I'm like, Like if you told me there was a chance, any chance,
cold hate,
any chance whatsoever that my kid could potentially have any kind of disease, anything wrong with that child, if there was a chance that anything could happen to my kid, I would make adjustments. I would ask some questions. I would do a little bit more research. Would I go run to the cabinet and grab the largest bottle of Tylenol I can find and record myself eating it? I don't think I would. Look, there's already, it's not that. That's funny. Maybe it's not that funny. Man, this is crazy.
HHS put out that acetaminophen. Yeah, Dr. Hazen, what do you think? I mean, this all seems to stem from the announcement Monday that HHS put out that acetaminophen is linked to.
Like if I was a Democrat and I'm like a bunch of Democrats are like going and ODing on Tylenol, I'd be like, yo, I'm on the wrong side. I'm clearly on the wrong side.
To autism and ADHD. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's an interesting study and definitely could have some, basis as a risk factor for autism. I don't think it's the only drug that can cause autism or the only problem that causes autism. Autism is multifactorial, in my opinion. But here's the thing, again, here we are where politics are meddling into medicine, where an announcement was given as a, hey, maybe this is, it gets doctors thinking, definitely it gets scientists thinking. This is what science is all about, throw out the hypothesis and then others start debating the hypothesis, right? And that's how we do it in medicine and science.
No. We don't debate the hypothesis. We test. And we do experiments.
Yes.
And we do studies and we gather data. Motherfuck. Like, am I tripping, Broken Blade? Like, no. I'm just a regular guy. I am just a regular guy I'm just a regular guy. And the idea that if we have a question that this is serious, it's like, okay, we'll prove it. Either prove it or disprove it.
Yes.
Prove it or disprove it. Like, give me more data. Let's go. Before I make a decision, give me more data. And again, we looked at a study from 2019 from Johns Hopkins. There's a bunch of other ones. There's a study from 2017. There's a study from 2022 that everybody's looking at. So these studies are being done. This is something that is already being suggested. This is not like Trump just pulled this out of the air. And here's another thing too. It wasn't just the vaccine. They weren't just looking for vaccines. Because remember, all of this was like the big dust up was vaccines only.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like RFK Jr. was like, oh yeah, let's throw Tylenol on the list too. Like what? But you'd have to think that if there was a situation where so many more, we're talking 200 and 300% more kids are more likely to have these issues, then it's something that we're consuming on a pretty regular basis. It's got to be. So you got to start looking. And are all these fuckheads, and God damn it, like, are they just like, do you want your kid to have autism? Like, do you want like the population of the United States to all have autism? Is that what you're saying? Is that the collective like agreement? Like, is that the thing? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we even talking about?
Simple, you said it, man. Could is enough. It's your fucking kid.
Exactly. It just blows my mind that we're having.
That's about child sacrifice.
There's that. Yeah, man, this makes me feel.
The problem is now when a politician is saying that, and it gets people angry because they already have a short fuse when they hear anything from this politician. There probably should have been a disclaimer that says, by the way, if you're going to engage yourself in taking a drug like Tylenol, beware that you have 8 hours to 24 hours to take the antidote. Otherwise, you're dead in 4 to 18 days. End of story. So I think the reason when you called me on this today, I couldn't believe, first of all, I'm not on TikTok, and there's a good reason why I'm not on TikTok. I'm not wasting my time on that. But the fact that there are kids out there that are not educated. I remember when I was in high school, I knew you can't.
Yeah. If you don't take the antidote within 48 hours, you'll be dead in 8 to 14 days.
Take too much Tylenol because it's going to shut down your liver. I mean, is that not taught in school? Do kids not know that Tylenol overdose exists and that you can end up in liver failure? Maybe there should be announcements all over the news, all over the media. Beware, if you're engaging yourself in a TikTok challenge, get yourself quickly to the hospital to get the antidote, because you have 4 hours to 24 hours to get the antidote. So it's there should be, and thank you, Nicole. I would not be scared of people coming after your family. I think you did a great job at sounding the alarm. And I think you did a good deed to try to save lives. So bravo to you, because that's the first thing I would have done. In fact, actually, let me just tell you, as John called me this morning on this, I started trying to write a message to warn people on Twitter, or X rather. I don't know why I'm still calling it Twitter, but on X. And you popped up, your TikTok video, Grok AI. I basically went on AI to look up a bunch of things, and Grok says, well, TikTok video by Nicole went viral because kids are doing that. I couldn't even believe that was a thing. I couldn't even believe that kids are challenging other kids.
Well, about a year ago, it was the Benadryl challenge. And before that, it was the cinnamon challenge. And those were incredibly dangerous as well.
And they're not just kids. One was a doctor.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is almost like I don't know. This is just evil. It's evil. There's no other word to say. This is like enticing people, increasing anger. Because it seems like that's what's happening, right? It seems like I honestly do not recognize anything in America anymore, because it's all about so angry. The media is angry. Everybody's angry. A person dies and people are angry and people are happy. Like there's no middle ground anymore. It's like you're making fun of the person that died, or you're sad about the person that died. There's no middle ground. Like, where do we become human again? And probably
we're indifferent. Shout out to Cody Marshall. He says no one wants to research and look up stuff. Everything's Trump's fault. It's just like Jermaine. Might as well put the lead paint back on the market. Damn. Cody Marshall has a point. Cody Marshall has a point. Cody Marshall has a point. Thank you, broski. I appreciate you. Yeah. I don't look, I mean, and who said it earlier? Darwin. Not everybody can come, guys. Not everybody can come. Natural selection is unfortunately a thing. I think that, it is, I think what happens is that white folks have used that as like a kind of a sledgehammer against black folks, and that kind of talk, has been used against us as black people for a long time. But we got to really think about it for a second, that like, look, not everybody can come. Like, not everybody's going to get it. Just not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody is going to understand that, not everybody's going to look both ways before they cross the street. Some people are just going to say, fuck it. They're not going to look at all. Some people are only going to look one way, and whatever happens, kind of. Like, it sucks, but it's like, whatever happens, I guess, at this point. Like, there's nothing that you can do. And if people are allowing Let's see. 13-year-old dead after trying the TikTok Benadryl challenge. This is the thing.
You know, it's going to be 6 a.m. finally. And so it's about, you know, it's going to be 6 a.m. finally. And for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I recommend that you do. I got a call, very frantic call at 4 o'clock in the morning from a husband whose wife is now dying of liver failure on a ventilator in an ICU because she was trying to prove that Tylenol doesn't cause autism because of what Trump said on the news. Mind you, that's a Harvard study. Now, whether or not you believe the Harvard,
it's harsh, but is it true? I'm being very serious. Like, we can have an open conversation about this because I don't like that idea-ish, sort of, but we'll come back to it. Let's let her finish.
study or not is not the issue here. The issue is that she's somewhere between 23 to 25 weeks and she overdosed on Tylenol and she's going to die. She's not going to come off that ventilator. And it's just so sad because he has to make the choice of them going and trying to emergency deliver this baby, and the baby may not survive. So it's about, you know, it's going to be 6 a.m. finally.
This is a shortened
And
version
for those of you who don't follow me on
of the story that I was talking about. Yeah.
Spite she hazarded her life and the life of her child.
Sorry, go ahead.
She hazarded her life and the life of her child out of sheer spite. Try to save the baby if you can, dude. Like, and I guess back to the Darwinism.
I mean, is that right? Like, you wander away from the herd. Damn, Solo Dolo. I didn't even think of it like that. I never thought of it that way. Man, so wait, is there like some inherent, like, damn, this is biblical, huh? Damn.
This fucking idiot. There were no threats made. He was urging you for the sake of your child, you stupid cunt.
Like, hey, I want to help you. Let me help you. Fuck that. Thanks. But let's hear what this.
Long line of what Kennedy does really well. He reprises this playbook of taking half-truths or low-quality data, claiming that others are hiding information, and then committing precious resources in this faux attempt at transparency. You know.
Say it again.
When did anybody say people were hiding information? Trump said he got attacked for bringing it up, but he didn't say anybody was hiding information.
If anything, they're trying to get more information.
Yes.
They're trying to give more information. This is so dishonest. Eve probably had the same smirk on her face too. Damn, that's profound. I'm gonna have to sit with that one for a second. I am not even lying. The parallels are crazy.
He's done it with fluoride. He's done it with the measles vaccine. He's done it with the COVID vaccine. Now he's doing it with Tylenol in the prenatal period, which, by the way, is important for women dealing with pain, pregnancy-related pain. This is not a small issue. And so let's get to the data here for all your viewers.
Robbing
Is
the
there a
kids
link between
future is not a small issue. Dickhead with the pushback hairline.
Tylenol use in the prenatal period and the rise of autism that we're seeing across the country? The answer is, but 20 years ago, there were some studies that were not well designed that did show a link between Tylenol use in the prenatal period and a very small risk of the development of, say, ADHD in children.
Very small.
In mothers that use Tylenol.
So you didn't like the studies, but they were true.
Tylenol or autism. So there was a link, a small link that was detected.
Yeah. So what's the problem? Father God with a lazy eye, slap the scrubs on. He's a professional. All right, bet.
What's happened over the last 20 years? We've gotten smarter. Science has changed. We have better research. And so, Mika, the new research has done something very different. What we know about autism is that what are true risk factors for autism are environmental risk factors like exposure to air pollution, genetic risk factors.
But you can zoom also. Wow. Again. Regular guys.
Regular guys. Just a regular guy, but
for all these so-called degrees, critical thinking seems dead.
Simeon on the money. Any risk is too much. Broken Blade. You're about to jump off a plane. Jump out of a plane. We're skydiving. Plane kind of seems a little rickety. The gear seems a little bit old. But, you're with a group of people and so on and so forth. And you ask, hey, these things open up 100% of the time? And they say, oh, no. 20% of the time, they don't open.
Fuck you.
So then you start to count. You're like 20%. Hold on. 10, 20. So out of the 10 people, 2 of them is likely this is not going to open. Well, it doesn't exactly work like that, but yeah. Are you going skydiving?
No.
Yeah, me neither. What if he says 90% of the time they open, but there's a 10% chance that they won't?
No.
No. 10% of death, 10% chance of death is not, is it too much? Yo, this is what I'm talking about. That's what we're talking about. So I don't know. This is very dishonest. This is freaking MSNBC. No wonder y'all are going out of business. Look, man, if you got some people that are close to you, make sure that they don't do none of this stupid stuff, please. Mothers, sisters, daughters, wives. Make sure they're not following this bullshit. Have them listen to the broadcast. If this guy, telling you to slow down on the medication is opposite of what I think everyone thinks that it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like he's trying to sell you medication, Trump and RFK. They're like, hey, just slow down a second and let us get these studies and some data because something's not right. None of them are talking about how the increase in autism, bro. The increase is crazy. 300, 400, 500% over the last 20 years, 30 years. It's insane. So it's so dishonest for them to act like it's not an issue. It is. And again, if the data, brought them to a set.
Is the 1 in 30.
1 in 12 for boys. So that needs to be what y'all are talking about, not the Tylenol.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the Tylenol, but it's something. Bro, if what's her face was still president, we would be going through this. It would have been Biden 2.0, which is Obama 4.0, and we would have been, anyways. Salute to everybody that came through, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on a Friday. Or no, it's Saturday. Damn, Saturday. Damn, I'm losing days over here. Saturday. On a goddamn Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. You guys go have yourselves a good time. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you. Yeah, man, this is don't let your people fall for this bull. Okay. Don't put a pause on the Tylenol, find another avenue, maybe there's topical something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. All I know is that this thing that you can get across, that you can get from the, over the countertop, they're trying to show that there's at least a correlation between it and ADHD and autism in children. And we were just talking about autism, bro, not ADHD. That's a whole nother, we looked at some of the numbers, but like, that's a whole nother. So yeah, man, let's, take care of your people. Don't let your the women in your family fall victim to this bullshit, please. These people are going to get you guys hurt. And now, like I said last time, and I'm going to say it again, me and Broken Braid will catch you guys on the next one. We out. Peace.
Peace.